Hello guys, welcome to another video on my channel. So in this video I would like to discuss an interesting question which every one of us have wondered about it at some point or the other. So the question might seem very trivial and very simple, like we have been uh, you have been learning about this question from your young age, but I would like to discuss this question from a new perspective. And I don't know, like, if I can call it a new perspective, because many other people have probably thought along similar lines, but here's my take on the matter. And the question is science a boon or a curse? So the main so we but recently I was watching a video by Melody Shape, and I also shared it on my YouTube community, and that is the human future, a case for optimism. Although that video seemed a bit too optimistic to me, but anyway, so we if you want, I can give the link in the description. You can watch the video if you wish, or you can just, yeah, anyway. So the thing is that, you know what, this we often discuss about how the civilization is going to end. There can be a nuclear war, there can be a singularity, I mean artificial intelligence take over, then there can be some biotechnology uh, threats, like the development of some deadly virus. And like this, all these things, this gene editing and all this, like, there are a lot of risks. Whenever we're tampering with big things about which we understand very little, there is always a chance of disaster. But of course, that doesn't mean we should stop tampering. We should stop researching on these things. I'm not saying that. So these are the risks we face. And then there is climate change, obviously one of the biggest threats, climate change. So the thing is that I often hear, like, people say that, so what has science done for the common people? What has science done for us? Maybe, yeah, like, of course the quality of life has improved, but that is only for a light group of people, the rich people. And, like, not just the rich people, but for a particular group of people. But for the other group of people, like for the poor, like, there are, like, in a country like India and other third world countries, there are a lot of poor people. So their quality of life has not really improved. And when we're considering the humankind as a whole, we should we can't say, it's not correct to say that the science has improved the quality of life if, suppose, 20% of the people are getting the advantage and the rest 80% of the people are not getting the advantage. This percentage is just, I just took an example, like, don't I really don't know what percentage of people are that poor. Like, I don't know whether it's 20%, 80%, or more or less. But anyway, that was just an example, just to make you understand. So yeah, but and yeah, so many people will say that science has, like, armed us, like, given us the tools for our own destruction, these nuclear weapons and everything. So the thing is that, suppose there were no science, there was nothing, like, suppose science has not advanced, and somehow we have survived. I think that that's a very unlikely situation, because if we have survived for a long time, that means we will have evolved, and that means we will have made some progress. So we have survived for a long time, and yet there has been no progress. Scientific progress is a very unlikely thing. And if you say, like, there has been, like, there is some regularity in our world, some what to say, like, some things that happen daily, like the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. So there are some regularities, some periodicity, you can say, and from that we have been able to deduce some scientific laws. But in a separate, so suppose if we consider in a parallel universe or in a different planet of the same universe, these uh, periodicity, these regularities might not be there, in which case it would be very difficult for the creatures living in that planet to come up with a general formula, to come up with the laws of science. Like, it would be very difficult. But yeah, in general, I don't think, then if there is no regularity in the world, then I don't think life would have evolved in the first place. Like, right. So So then again, that argument cancels out that one, right? Because if life is, if life could, like, life has evolved on our planet, means there must be some kind of regularity, and so there must be some progress. But anyway, this is just a thought experiment. Okay, so you imagine that there, like, no scientific progress, but still we are living, our humankind is living. So will we be would we be any better off? Suppose there were no nuclear weapons, have not been discovered yet. Will we really be better off? We would still face the threats of getting extinct from a gamma ray burst from deep space, or an asteroid impact, or even like climate change. And I think it's extremely unlikely, almost impossible, that uh, we could ever have evolved in survived in a world where there are no problems, like no scientific problems. We have progressed in science, so that means there will undoubtedly be problems. Everything comes with a good side and a bad side, so that's obvious. But yeah, so that's the thing. So uh, it's really easy to see the negatives. It's really easy to, yeah, so it's really easy to, like, uh, talk about the negative sides of things. It's we're like, I believe, like, and I was recently reading an article in a psychology journal. So anyway, I believe, and I think it's true, that most of the people are a bit pessimistic. Like, I mean, they lean more towards pessimism than optimism. And well, I myself also fall to that group. But so yeah, so where was I? I'm losing track of things these days. Okay, just a sec. Yeah, so the thing is that, like, of course there are negatives, but the thing is that if science would not have developed, you can't say that if science would not have developed, then we would be any better off. You may say that there are a lot of bad things about science. Science has, you know driven the poor and the rich farther and farther apart. Science and technology, then there is these threats of nuclear weapons, and science has given us the tools to destroy our own civilizations, and all this is true. But you cannot say that, I mean, it would not be statistically valid. You have no data against which to say this. Like, I'm speaking from a scientific perspective. I'm not speaking from, like, you know what I mean. So if you say that we would have been better off if science had not progressed, science had not developed, you cannot say that. You have absolutely no evidence, no statistical data to say that. So I think, those of you who think that science is more a curse than a boon, because of these things, I think this logic really doesn't hold up. Because if science has not developed, there would have been a lot of other problems. Okay, so that's why I consider, like, in general, I think science is more a, like, boon than a curse. But the thing is that I am a science student, so of course there might be some bias in me, like some biasness in me. Obviously, I admit that I love science, and I have a, like, I don't like religion and all these things. So, but the thing is that I respect other people's opinions, and maybe from a different, those people who are seeing these things from a different perspective, maybe they will have a different opinion. And I don't, I mean, I respect their opinion. But yeah, just to warn you that I might be biased towards science, but still I think, on the whole, that science is more of a boon than a curse. And because, the only problem with science is that it has, uh, like uh, the advancement of technologies, this internet and this, AI and whatever, like all these nuclear weapons, whatever. I think they have, like, they pose a threat to us, but they have also improved the quality of our lives, and that's undoubtedly true. That's undeniable. So, well, I basically think that, these scientific advancements, technological advancements, and all these things, innovations, and I think these are for the better. They have done more good to us than harm. But the only problem, and this is like the most crucial problem, this is the problem, the probably the greatest problem of humankind today, is that the distribution of this, I mean, the accessibility of these scientific, innovations and technologies is not equal. It's not at all equal. Like, if you consider, from the perspective of an individual human who is rich, or like who is average, like he's not poor, he has a good amount of money, and or maybe he's rich. So from that perspective, of course, science has improved our lives, his life or her life, more than, like, it's more a boon than a curse. But when you consider the whole world, then there were a lot of backward people who are not like this, you know what I mean, those poor people. So I think that is the only problem with science, and that's not a, that's not, it's not the work of science to solve that problem. It's the work of economics and, you know, these I mean, a lot of things are involved, these governments and everything. I don't want to go into that issue right now because I myself don't understand that. And yeah, anyway, so uh, so I think science has done its work, and it's no good, it's not really correct, it's not really justified to hate science or dislike science by saying that science has done more harm than good, because science has done its work, and it's we humans who have failed to implement that, who have failed to maintain the equality. I mean, of course, like so it's our problem. We have been abusing science, and of course everything has a good side and a bad side. So but I think this is the most crucial problem which we need to solve now, which is poverty. Like uh, suppose a villager who doesn't have enough money to even visit the local doctor, what is an MRI machine to him? What use does that, like the MRI machine is a very advanced or let's say fMRI, functional MRI, magnetic resonance imaging. So these machines, they have been doing good. They have diagnosed diseases in a lot of patients. But what good is an MRI machine to a person who is living in a village with no facilities, and he or she doesn't have enough money to visit the local doctor? What is quantum field theory to a person who barely has enough food to eat? That's so. If you ask me, the main point of today's video was to address this question: is science a boon or a curse? And if you ask me, I would say that from the perspective of a well-off person, science has done more good than harm. But overall, I think science has done more good than harm overall also. But I think it's due to our, like it's our problem that we have not been able to increase the average quality of life. I'm talking about the average quality of life by considering all the persons on earth, not just a few rich people. So that's our problem, and that's a problem for, that's not a problem for science to solve, at least not like this theoretical science. But of course economics or not everything, they are also a kind of science, like they're also a kind of science. But so yeah, so that's what I would say, and that's what I wanted to discuss in this video. And I think that's pretty much everything. And yeah, so one last thing I'd like to say, like this might sound a bit like selfish and all that, but uh, one thing which is obvious, which is true, is that we have a finite amount of time in the world, very short amount of time. If we consider in the scale of the life, the universe, the astronomical time, then it's 80 years, 90 years is almost nothing. So there was that famous saying by Leslie Paul that life is no more than a match struck in the dark and blown out again. So anyway, so this is the thing, like I have a finite amount of time, I have a few years to live on this earth, and I know that it's pretty much, this world around me and everything else is pretty much meaningless. Everything will end one day. Like I recently in the sense, today itself I posted a YT community short about like about that. So in the melody ship video of the human future, there were, I liked it very much. There was a line: "The great roar of civilization reduced to a whisper in the winds of time." So and this reminded me of the poem Ozymandias. I read it when I was in school in class 8, I guess, and it was like PB Shelley's poem Ozymandias. If you don't know about it, it's basically just a like uh, uh, a poem which like the poet describes that he was traveling in some antique land, in some desert, and he saw a broken statue of a king, and on the pedestal it was written that, "Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair." Like so presumably that king, whose name was Ozymandias, maybe he had built a very good empire, very good kingdom around him, and so he has erected his own statue and written that those words on the pedestal. But uh, at the time when the poet is seeing those that thing, nothing else remains. Like the statue is broken, the head lies on the sand, and uh, just the two legs of the statues are standing on the pedestal, and on everywhere else there is just lone, like the sand of the desert and nothing else. So this poem is probably referring to the impermanence or transient nature of political power, but I think it applies to everything in general. Okay, so like at like at times it's good to think about the transient nature of existence. It might be depressing. It is depressing at times, but it's also relieving at times. It also like gives us a kind of not satisfaction. It gives us a kind of comfort. It comforts us, and like everything will end one day. Everything's meaningless. Nothing really matters in the end. So our all the negatives, they also don't matter. So it depends on whether you perceive the negatives as great, whether you put give more importance to the negatives or the positives. That will basically change how, whether this whether wondering about the transit nature of existence will be depressing to you or will be relieving to you. But I personally find it relieving anyway. So yeah, like I, I like those lines very much. The great roar of civilization reduced to a whisper in the winds of time. So that's all I wanted to say in this video. And like I just it's 3 a.m. now. It's in the night. So tomorrow is a Sunday. So I am I was studying, and so I just thought of recording this video. So yeah, that's all. I don't think I should make this any longer. And yeah, of course you're free to comment, and if you're new here, please like, share, subscribe, and everything. So I hope all of you guys are doing well. Stay safe and stay happy, stay healthy, and that's all. Thank you.